Shalom everyone, this is Shlomo Katz. You're listening to The Soul of Israel on thelandofisrael.com, on the Land of Israel Network. Boker Tov, my dear brother, Rabbi Aryeh Abramowitz.
Boker Tov, Rabbi Shlomo.
Post-Shavuos face of years, glowing, still shining from the mountain. How was your Shavuot?
It was fantastic.
Where were you?
I was in the, I taught for a little bit on Agrippus, at the Agrippus Hotel to a group, and then Rav Rakovsky.
Oh boy. Oh, what a gem.
He is really a Nachal Novea. It's just like flows through him.
A gem.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, you were with him in the old city?
Yes.
Oh,
that's
wow.
like my Shavuot custom.
Oh, beautiful. In his house he was teaching?
In his house, yeah.
Rav Rakovsky is an incredible light. Oh, good for you. Good for him. Good for all
me.
of us.
Good
for you. Baruch Hashem, we had a beautiful one here in our community. I started a new thing on Shavuot about a few years ago. You know, Shavuot is like people come to Shavuos night and they bring every sefer they ever got since their bar mitzvah, thinking they're going to, get through it all. When really, it's no longer than like one morning seder in a yeshiva. It's like really just 3 or 4 hours of learning.
By the time dinner's done, it's 12:30.
Right. You have to daven late, so dinner's late. You only really can start learning close to 11:30. And you start davening at 4:30. So it's not that long. But and it's usually not the strongest night of learning either because you are exhausted. So I started doing what's called a Shavuos Tish in the house. And for some that might be like a little bit odd because it's a night of learning, not a night of like, a Tish means like a table getting together, singing and dancing. But it became clear and clear that getting ready to hear God say, Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am the God who took you out of Egypt, to like reenact the Aseret HaDibrot. You need to mamish your senses need to be awake and excited and open and happy and in love. So therefore, we started doing this Tish, and it's filled with like a lot of singing and excitement. But this year, the Tish, we only sang wedding songs. You know, the Mazel Tov, Od Yishama, because it was Shavuos is a wedding, so we did like a whole wedding Tish. It was really out there and very, very special. So
It was the first time you did that?
Like 3 or 4 times, yeah. The first time I did it in my house here, but it was like the 3rd or 4th year we've done it. So it's a very, very special Shavuos, and now the question is like, how am I going? What am I doing with Shavuos, What is my Kabbalah Satorah? What am I doing with what happened to me Shavuos night? So a Yid lives with the times, and that means he lives with the Parsha that he reads. So one of the ways to really kind of like get your direction after Shavuot, go deep into Parshat Naso, our Parsha this week. And our Parsha Naso has a lot of different topics in it. Amongst them are the priestly blessings, which I'm very, very connected to, being a priest. It's actually in the Birkat Kohanim is in this Parsha. Also the Parsha of a Nazir, and, how do you say Nazir? A Nazirite. And the very, very incredibly powerful story of an Isha Sota, someone who is suspicious of being adulterous. Anyway, it's a lot of and there are more things as well. But I actually wanted to look at the Nazarite for a second, since your beard does look mighty heady today, mighty fine and perfectly crafted. Are you beginning
I'm going for the Herzl.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm doing something here.
Uganda or Israel?
Sorry?
Uganda or Israel? What are you going with?
I found out that my great-grandfather debated
Herzl? Okay.
Yeah.
Herzl was not a Nazir, but he kind of looked like one, at least based on his facial hair.
Right. I'm actually right now listening to Rav Weinberger reading Rav Kook's Hesped on Herzl.
Yeah. In Sefer
Very
Yeshua. Yeah.
powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
So the Torah talks about a Nazir, a person that for whatever the reasons were, life wasn't working out for him the way he wanted to. So he took upon himself Nazirut to refrain mainly from drinking wine, touching his hair, and a few other items as well. And a Nazir is kind of like mufrash. He's separated, and he's taken upon extra things. And when you take upon extra things and you stick to them, you definitely feel more powerful. You feel you're more connected to your shlita, to your control over things. Life isn't just automatic. You have a sense of control, and thus that gives you a tremendous sense of hitchabrut, of hitkashut, of deep connection to your own soul, and of course to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But what happens if that stopped one day? And you,
What stopped?
The how would you say the nazirut in English? The Nazareth,
Nazariteness.
the Nazariteness suddenly stopped. So the Torah says here something very interesting about the Nazir. V'chiyamut met alav befeta pitom. Oh, he also has to be completely non-contaminated by death. But what happens?
The same laws of a Kohen.
Regarding the death issue, yeah.
Right.
So he says, the Torah says, v'chiyamut met alav befeta pitom. What happens if he's still, in his mind, he was still going to be a Nazir today, but someone came up to tell him a secret and the guy died on his shoulder? What happens to his status of a Nazir? It stops. And nothing you could do about it. It wasn't his doing either. He didn't choose to stop being a Nazir.
It happened to him.
It happened to him. Bepeta pitom. Out of nowhere. What does the Torah say about that? Let's find this inside. The Torah tells him, Gilach Rosho b'yom tarato. He has to start the whole process over again. He has to go through the whole thing all over again.
He has to shave his head.
You shave his head, mikvahs, the whole thing is, wait 7 days. The whole thing is but it's not even that he it's not that he fell. Oh, I need to drink wine, and that's why the status was lost. It's not that, oh my God, today I need to get a haircut. Someone died on him. That happens to us in life. We choose things, and they didn't go our way, not because we fell, but because something externally happened to us. So what happens to his status? So you would think the Torah would tell you, oh, because it happened to you and you didn't cause it, don't worry, you're still a Nazir. And yet the Torah tells us, no, you actually lost it and you got to start from the beginning. Does that seem fair? What do you think?
I don't know, fair or not fair. It seems like what has to be.
Why? Yeah, but when the Torah shows us something like this, it's telling us, go and find out a little bit deeper why this has to be. And I think it's teaching us a very deep question, deep matter. And I saw a story that we might have shared in the past, but I think it's really applicable to today. There was once a chassid from the movement of Gur, the Ger Chassidim. He was a student, and he was living and learning in Israel, and he was going to go back and visit his family for a while. And the night before he was leaving Israel, he's like, I can't sleep, I'm going to go to the Kotel and daven. Do you remember this story?
No.
So he goes to the Kotel and he starts davening, and lo and behold, he feels a hand on his arm, a hand on his shoulder. He looks and he sees it's the Rebbe of Ger, the Ger Rebbe. How do you describe what that means to a person going to basically the greatest person that exists in your life comes and puts his hand on his shoulder? I'm thinking, oh my God, this is so intense. And the Ger Rebbe asks him, tell me something. What's the greatest thing about Hashem? So the guy was pretty startled, the student, as it is a very intimidating situation. Like the time that it's a much longer story, but when I went to meet with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to learn Torah with him, again, a very long story.
You're in the middle of davening?
And I was so intimidated by the whole thing, and then his father comes into the room. His father was still alive, and he introduces me to his father, and I say to him, hi, Mr. Alcindor, how are you? And he says to me, Was machst du, Rabbi? He starts talking to me in Yiddish, kind of like, where do we go from here? This is so intimidating and so awkward. So, lahavdil, when the Ger Rebbe comes up to you at the Kotel and says to you, what's the greatest thing you could say about Hashem? What are you going to say? So the Rebbe says to him, the greatest thing about Hashem is that he never laughs.
This is what the student said.
That's what the Rebbe said.
The
student wouldn't dare open his mouth.
He didn't know what to say. Okay.
The Rebbe said, greatest thing you can say about Hashem is that he never laughs. Never laughs. The student was completely dumbfounded and had to catch his flight, and he went back to America, and he always thought about that. Makes his way back to Yerushalayim a few years later. By now, that Rebbe that he had met at the Kotel has passed on. The new Ger Rebbe is there. And the student took the opportunity to ask the new Ger Rebbe, he said, I was here a few years ago, and I bumped into the old Rebbe, the previous Rebbe at the Kotel, and he told me something that I just can't make any sense of. And it's a few years already. This is sitting in my mind and in my heart. What does this mean? Well, what did he tell you? He said to me, the greatest thing about Hashem is that he never laughs. Puzzled and confused, the student, the Rebbe looked at him and said, I'll tell you exactly what he meant. If a new student comes to the yeshiva and he takes upon himself a lot of things and he falls in them a week after a week and he says, I'm going to try again. Let's take the concept of minyan. Takes upon himself minyan, which for some people that could be like becoming a nazir, right? On the level of dedication and commitment. And he takes that upon himself, but he falls a week later. So, and he says, but the student says, but I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. So I believe him. And this is a reoccurring thing that happens every few weeks where the student keeps on forgetting to come to minyan, doesn't show up on time. So after a while, when the student tells me, no, I'm going to do better, I'm going to do better, I end up laughing, the Rosh Hashiva says. I laugh because you know you're not going to do better, and I know you're not going to do better. Hashem never laughs. The greatest thing about God is that whenever we fall, whether it was our fault or not our fault, but we right away say, I'm right away starting the process again, Hashem never laughs. Hashem takes that seriously every time you say that. Because every time you fall, if your response is, I am going to get up, God takes that very, very seriously. Sometimes the reasons of our fallings are legitimate, meaning life is hard or someone died on me suddenly. Sometimes it's just that I'm lazy. But sometimes life happened to me and it caused me to go off track and lose focus, lose direction. But if my response isn't trying to be a cop, trying to not take responsibility and just say, that's what I'm expected to do at that moment is just be like, tomorrow's a new day, I'm starting from scratch. And God doesn't laugh. Hashem doesn't laugh. So that story, that hit me very, very deep because I think sometimes that what prevents us from starting from scratch right away is that we think that we actually hear God laughing when we say, I'm starting all over again. But really, Amunah means, according to the Ger Rebbe, is that Hashem never laughs. So, what could I say, my friend? If I ever wanted to bless you with something, it's to mamish believe. And this is to all our brothers and sisters out there in the world. Life is rough. Life is nuts. One day I feel like I'm flying so high. The next day I feel like no one's lower than me. One day I'm sure that I could take on everything. The next day I can't take on a thing. The point is not, though, how much I can or can't take on. The point is, do I believe that God never laughs when I'm sincere? When I just say, I'm getting back up no matter what, Hashem never laughs at that. No matter how many times I have to fall. No matter how many times I fell. No matter how many times I will fall. The Nazir, Peta Pitom, someone dies on him. He took on so much. He was working so hard. Someone came and just, it's like a person that's on a diet. He's doing so good. And then while he's sleeping, his friends chug down his throat like 3 Mars bars and, whatever it is, candy bars. And
by his friends, do you mean his own hands?
No, because his own hands is not a peta pitom. It's not like a sudden thing.
Right, okay.
His own hands, it's already another parsha that
I'm just saying in the middle of the night, your own hands can be your friends.
No. I'm talking about a sleepover. Right, you were good all day long. You had a great diet. We really exercised. And then a friend's like, listen, I have this need for some reason that
to force feed my friend a sleepover.
That the Kit
Kats.
It
happens.
Peta pitom. You lost the diet. What do? Tomorrow's a new day. Your friends start laughing. And even the evil voice inside of you says, I wonder how long today will last. Thus, usually preventing you from really even starting anything from scratch. Hashem never laughs. That's the greatest thing about Hashem. If we can internalize this message that we learned from the Nazir through this story, I believe that our whole approach to almost everything about our lives will find empowerment, refinement. Is invigoration the right word here?
Yeah.
Thank you. And all of the above, marching towards the great day. Because after the giving of the Torah, we need a lot of koach to remember that Hashem never laughs. That's the week after Shavuos. That's the story of the day after Shavuos, the day after you receive the Torah. Anyway, they should all be done with simcha. with excitement, and with thanks to be part of such a game.
Amen.
Please, 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 dearest friends, reach out to us, shlomo@landofisrael.com, ari@landofisrael.com, and may we see you in Land of Israel very soon.
Amen.